we'll get started straight away. So before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia. We recognise their continuing connections to land, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. Perfect. So we've got lots of people in the chat. Very exciting. Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining. My name's Natasha. I'm from the marketing team at Mable. And this is a webinar basically to set you up for success for the new year. It's on professional practices and it gives you the opportunity to learn directly from our experienced support workers who are all superstars, by the way. And they're going to share with you some insights and tips that have helped them build their strong client relationships and long-term success on Mable. So feel free to ask any questions live. We've got Dee from the team who's very savvy with Mable. She can answer any of your questions, and feel free to also ask questions to our support worker panelists as well. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share because I want to see all your beautiful faces, our lovely panelists. So why don't we just kick off by getting to know each other? So Lynn, do you want to start? Do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Lynn from Hobart. I've been with Mable since 2021. So, just nearly 5 years this year. I have 5 clients currently. The most I've had actually all up is 7 at one time, but I've had people pass away as you do, through your journey. Icebreaker. The most rewarding, I think, is leaving your clients with a smile, and you enjoying your job. I look at my clients like they're all related. So if I look at them related, I don't treat them as strangers. So, yeah, it's a fun job. It's rewarding. You have fun while you're working.
That's lovely. Thanks,
Mm.
Lynn. Pete, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Natasha. It's so good that you can't see an audience, so I'm not going to get stage fright. This is fantastic. Like Lynn, I also started in 2021, November 2021. I had come from a different career. I came from mainstream health. I was a pharmacist for a very long time in mental health. And I remember I just had a moment where I just kind of, this is the peak. I've hit a wall. And I was searching for something else. And I fell in love with support work. In fact, I remember the first time I fell in love with support work. I was with an organization dealing with homelessness. And there was a guy there, and he was beaming with energy. And his job was to teach a kid how to skateboard. That was his job. And I go, what kind of job is this? Because I'm a support worker, and I was instantly hooked. So I looked around, couldn't get hired. Eventually, an agency hired me to do some support work. And as soon as I got my Cert 4 in disability, I hit Mable hard because I found that it was easier to run directly to the clients and manage my own teams and jobs, and there was no secondhand information. I would, you dealing with it directly, and I've never looked back ever since. And I think joining Mable has been the most fruitful career decision I've made as independent support worker. We were discussing before with Kenzie, Christine, and Lynn of how rewarding and how much variety and fun this job is. And it really is. It's kind of like a professional secret that support workers have that much fun. But yeah, so I work mostly with kids between 20 and 30 as a psychosocial recovery coach, dealing with a lot of mental health problems. So depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, personality disorders, and I do a lot of trauma-informed counseling with them. And like Lynn, the best part of my job is I love seeing the clients blossom and they see value, and they also teach you a lot as well. And to find out, so the best way to learn is to teach. And so hearing, can you guys hear me? Is my mic closer to
I
my
can hear
thing?
you.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary Smith, for that comment. But yeah, so it's support work now and for the foreseeable future as well.
Let us know if the sounds better. Feel free to drop in the chat. But yeah, thanks, Pete. That's fantastic. And I've also had the pleasure of meeting you in Adelaide too. So, and up next, Kenzie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi. Well, I'm a support worker here on the Gold Coast. And I started early last year, so almost coming up for a year now. So it still, feels a little newer than some like Lynn and Pete. You've been, in the game a lot longer. But I found it because I was looking for something originally, like or initially just sort of part-time. I've come from a creative background, and I was just looking for something else, to support that. And also just really missing working, with people. I love, connecting with people. And I first heard about support work because I was helping out a family friend here on the Gold Coast, and he was in his 90s. And he had a support worker that would come around and, make him a cup of tea and just, kind of bring a little bit of, a bit of sparkle, a little bit of energy into his day. And someone else would take him out for a drive. And I was like, oh, this looks like an interesting job. I think I'd love that because I love spending time with him. And so I did a bit of research and I stumbled across Mable, and I thought this sounds perfect because I love getting to sort of choose my own clients. And then, the best part is just building these amazing relationships. They become, you become so close, and it's so rewarding, just each day is totally different. And that's what I love. I love variety in my day. So anything from, cooking and, a bit of cleaning, bit of support work, bit of tech and admin help, clearing out cupboards, going out to a yoga class. It's just so varied. And I have about 4 to 5 regular clients, a couple of aged care clients, and a couple living with disability. And it's just a really lovely mix. I feel like I've got this amazing, client base who I just adore, and each day I feel really happy working with them, and yeah, seeing what I can give to them as well. It's very rewarding, so I love it.
That's lovely. Thanks, Kenzie. And last but not least, Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm also from the Gold Coast. I have been with Mable since April last year, so I'm also quite new, like Kenzie. Well, much like Peter as well, have come from a very different career. I used to do bookkeeping for the last 30 years, and due to my own personal health reasons, I kind of had to wind back on that and needed to do something else. And my bestie had been saying that I needed to do this for about 3 years before I actually bit the bullet and did the first aid course and other training and whatnot to get in. And I haven't looked back. It has been the best decision I've ever made. I love the freedom that we get with Mable to be able to take on clients, to let go clients. Sometimes you don't feel safe, or you don't want to travel half an hour in traffic in the morning for a 2-hour job. So, it's so good to be able to have that flexibility to, like this one's not working for me, so I'm going to take on another one, and be able to really make those connections with people that you can really connect with. And it's just, I love it. I'm not looking back at all.
Love that. Thank you. Well, it's
okay.
great to meet you all, and thanks for coming along today. Very excited. This is the first sort of panel that we've done at Mable. So yeah, very keen to kick this off. So for the first theme, it's all about professional habits that keep clients coming back. So Pete, I'm going to throw it to you for the first question. So can you tell us, Pete, a bit more about what is a professional habit that's helped you build long-term relationships with clients?
Yeah, thanks, Natasha. I love talking about habits because you don't really choose success, but you choose your habits, and the habits choose success. So I love making sure that I have got a great ritual with my clients. So I make sure that I'm punctual all the time, that I'm responsible and professional, that I am polite, that I add value. That's really good, and also that I'm pretty positive all the time. There's a quote that I really like to say that I always keep in mind, that a business rarely outgrows its owner or its CEO or whatever. And so when I think about the disability or aged care sector, you're actually in the self-improvement sector. So if you're always improving your game and improving your habits, tweaking it a little, it gives you a very competitive edge out there, particularly when it comes to where the standards aren't really regulated. So I make sure that I'm punctual, I'm on time, I'm polite, I add value, there are different idiosyncrasies where clients have. So I make sure that I can not only listen to them, but I hear them as well, and I relate to them on a personal level. Some people is it not very clear at the moment? Sorry. Can you guys
Oh, I
hear
can
me?
hear you fine.
Hear you fine. Okay, cool. So yeah, and also keep it above board. I find that when it comes to professional standards, they can slip when you become really complacent. But to make sure that you're tight on making sure that you understand what restrictive practices are, what that the client is very valued and respected, it's very, very important because yeah, they can typically slide when you're tired or hungry or angry. I also make sure that to not keep it personal, not keep it personal. So, water off a duck's back when it comes to it. And ego is really the enemy. It's not about you, it's about we. So I'll make sure that we co-design the supports together. So it's not about what I want to do. I make sure that I communicate regularly to make sure that we both agree on where we need to go, what we need to do. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. I haven't said anything that was too wild out there, but consistency really is the key. Keep consistent with your own standards.
Yeah.
Because you hear about the horror stories from clients because they'll tell you the horror stories, and it's always about reliability, punctuality, professionalism, respect. Yeah, so yeah, and you want to keep these clients for a long time as well because it's really hard to build up, your clientele. I've had my clients the longest for since the start, 2021, and
Yeah.
so you're doing yourself a disservice if you slip up your game. But yeah,
Wow, you've kept the clients this whole time. It definitely shows that you're good at maintaining long-term clients. Well done, Pete. Thank you.
or I've got some leverage on them, so either or.
Perfect. And Lynn, did you have anything you wanted to add to the question? What's a professional habit that helps you build long-term clients?
I mean, like Pete said, you're honest and reliable and be truthful and, have fun too at the same time and be open, not about your own life. It's not about you, about them too. Like my clients too. I worked with another company before Mable and I brought 5 clients with me from that provider. So 4 of those clients I've actually had for 7 years. So 4 years with Mable and 3 years outside that. And so we have a really good relationship, but we still know our boundaries too at the same time. And just be honest and talk openly with them, like, what do we do today? And they say, what do you want to do to me, with me? And I said, it's not about me, what are we going to do? Did you want to go shopping? Do we want to stay here and clean? We want to go out in the garden? Mabel's so flexible. It's not regimented. And I've worked in facilities and they're so regimented and you can't spend time with the client at all. And it's disheartening. Whereas with Mabel, it's quite open, it's flexible. You're not restricted to be doing things. You're restricted in your time management, but you're not restricted in what you're really doing. You're not climbing ladders or whatever. But I say to my clients, I'm your second part of hands. So you have 4 hands, not 2 hands. So I'm here to help. No matter what you need, we'll try and work with it and see how we go. Just be honest and open with them and have fun.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I like the 4 hands approach. That's no,
Yeah.
right. Perfect. And we're going to go to the next question now. So I'm going to ask Kenzie. Kenzie, can you share an example of a time when consistency or reliability made a big difference in your client engagement?
Oh, well, I think just, that like you were saying before, Pete and Lynn were saying that consistency, showing up and being prepared to work with them every day, asking them what they need to get done and being reliable, showing up on time and doing all, making sure that you are there for them is so important. I think the consistency and everything, over time, your clients just get to know you so well as well. So they know when you show up there that, you're working towards the bigger picture goals that they have. And so I always try to keep that in mind when I'm working with them. And yeah, so that's good. I actually lost track a little bit of your question. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but yeah, consistency and reliability definitely.
Yeah. And actually, I was like, for example, I was with a client this morning and I asked her, come on, I'm about to do this chat today. And, what would you say are the three things that you find really, what is it about me that you find me a good sport? And she said, well, you're honest, you're trustworthy and you're so friendly and you're motivating, but it's annoying because, when I get there, it's like, I'm like, right, let's get out there, let's go for that walk and we need to do, move your body and let's eat healthy and like, right, what's in your fridge? And it's about keeping them, engaged in their bigger picture goals. And I think that's really important as well, like showing up and being there for them. So that's how I like to approach it is, very much tailoring each session to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just add, sorry, I'm just cutting in here. Kenzie's right, consistency is key, and years of hard work can be eradicated by 1 week of inconsistency.
Yeah.
The client's looking for that. And so you have to make sure that you're on the right rituals, that you're sustainable as well. And like what Lynn said before about respect, one of the worst habits that support workers can get into is to overpromise and underdeliver. Oh, I hear that over and over again. So make sure that you are putting together your boundaries of what you can do, your limitations. And when it comes to clients, a hard conversation should bring you together. That's how you know it's a healthy relationship because you go, all right, we're very clear about this. And you never want to waste a crisis to get more intimate with your client of getting to know each other. So yeah, so just to add on to what Kenzie was saying about consistency and what Lynn was saying about like honesty and communication. Because you're not a salesman out there. You're here to support some honest, authentic support work.
And I like that as well, like under promise, over deliver. That's awesome. Now, Christine, I wanted to throw a question to you. So are there any small daily or weekly practices that you do to set you apart as a support worker?
Yeah, so one of the things I make sure I do is I always get my reporting done before I leave the driveway and move on to the next job, client, whatever. I've also got backup data, so I use things like Life 360 to be able to help me track my kilometers and be able to, like whilst my client's got a watch that can track things as well. If he's forgotten to put it on, he might not, his daughter that he lives with might not be able to see that he's gone out for a drive or reporting. I've got apps that support me. I've got notes ready to go as like a template in my phone so that I can copy and paste that into the report to create consistency within the reporting. I also like to take photos if they allow me to. Obviously, there's privacy that you need to be mindful of. But when I'm taking out this daughter's father, or go to the marina and he's enjoying the sun and the boats and stuff like that, I like to take a photo so that she can sort of enjoy that moment with us too. Little things like that.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And it's great to see some messages in the chat like Heather, respect and client choices are very important. Definitely agree. Cool. So moving to the next section, it's all about setting boundaries and communicating with confidence. Lynn, I'm going to ask you the first question.
Right.
How do you approach setting boundaries with clients while still maintaining a warm, supportive relationship?
Well, see, I've had two clients recently, husband and wife, and both of their husbands have passed away. One passed away last year in June, and one passed away 2 years before. So it's about having being able to have their own space, but being able to talk to them openly about, how good their husband was and what he used to do and the jokes that he used to say or the things he used to do and having a laugh about those things that he used to do or he never used to do, and letting them know that it's a job. We are here as a job. Yeah, we're here as a friend too, but this is part of our job. And keeping families up to date, knowing what things are going on with family and setting boundaries with families as well, because sometimes families rely on us more than what they do themselves. So we kind of got to step back and say, well, no, that's part of your job, not what we should be doing. So being honest with family and just realizing that, reminding the client that we're here as doing a job, Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Len. Now, Christine, I want to ask you, can you recall a moment where clear communication helped prevent confusion or conflict?
So, I guess one of my clients, she works full time. Her father is home, he's non-verbal, and so she has had instances where workers haven't turned up, where workers have been late, or just she's been messed around quite a bit. So before I leave my home, I message. She knows that I only live like 6 minutes away, so before I leave my home, I message her to say that I'm on the way, and then she gives me like a big heart or a thumbs up, or she's just really grateful for that, like little bit of information and communication, so that she's got some peace of mind. But like she knows that her dad's been taken care of.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And before I move to the next section, would anyone like to add anything on setting professional and setting boundaries and communicating with confidence?
I'd love to just build off what Lynn was saying before about the family, and like the communication with family is very important as well. And I found that at the beginning it was a little bit tricky to navigate, because obviously there is that sort of fine line of like overstepping as well. Like, you want to provide the best care you can, and you want to go above and beyond for your client, but at the end of the day as well, you also got to make sure you're checking in and doing what the family have asked you to do as well. And I think that's really important, to have that clear communication of what you're in there to do, and what you need to step back from, and I find that has worked really well. And I have very good relationships with all of my clients' family members, whether it's a daughter or a mum, and I'll do the same like with Christine. If we're having a nice outing, it's like taking a little photos and then sending them through to the family, and it just makes them feel, especially if they're not living in the same city as their family member, it's really lovely for them to know what's going on and how they're what they're up to. And so I think that works really well. It's lovely to be very connected with the family.
Yeah, perfect.
I think too, it's okay to say no.
True.
We need to kind of set back boundaries for ourselves too, of knowing what our policy and our procedures and our safety and our manual handling and all that kind of thing that may be, is that if we're not able to do it, then maybe your son could do that, or maybe we can get someone else to fix that or do that or whatever, instead of thinking, oh God, I think I have to do that, when you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, or you don't feel fit or feel comfortable in doing.
I've got a client that quite regularly will ask workers to do things that are outside of our scope, like massages and physical therapy and stuff like that. And it's like, we're not qualified to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not covered under insurance to do that. You have to be strong in saying no.
Yeah. Window cleaning, they want you to window clean. They want you to spring clean their bloody home. You're like, you can do so much, but you can't do everything. We're not superheroes. We can't do everything.
Yeah.
And I see Dee's our Savvy Dee has linked some resources from Mable about communication as well. Feel free to check them out later on. So we're going to move to the next section, all about staying organized and with documentation, agreements, and notes. So I might actually kick off with Kenzie. Can you touch on and tell us some tips how that help you stay organized with note systems and documentation?
Yeah, absolutely. I found when I first started figuring out what my little system was going to be, took a bit of trial and error. And as Christine was saying, it sounds like she's got a very similar sort of, get those notes down as quick as possible. And so what I actually first started was actually, as soon as I finished with a client, I would, get to my car, sit in the car, and I would grab my phone and my voice notes and record a little just blur of what I did with the client, just to get it down, because sometimes it's amazing how quickly you'll just forget, all those little things you did within a 3 or 4 hour session with your client. I then moved into using ChatGTP, which I'm sure many of us do today, but I do use that very specifically. So what I will do now is I will capture my note of what I've done for the day. And then I will rework it once I'm back at my computer, and I'll sit there and I'll just tweak those notes so that they're as clear and concise as possible. And then I also record the date, the time, in that voice note. So when I sit down, whether it's on my phone on the Mable app or the desktop Mable system, I can then just very easily record all the details I need to when I'm logging my hours. Because sometimes you're a really busy week and it gets to, Friday or Sunday and you're like, eek, I haven't logged my hours, and, you've got to quickly do that. So you have to remember that admin is a very important part of it. And recording notes that are really helpful for, the family members that are looking after that you're looking after, so that everything is there if they ever need to make changes to their plans and things like that. I think that's, really important. What else? Oh, I use Driver's Note too. Christine was talking about that, about tracking your kilometers, and I find Driver's Note awesome. Like, I just have it on auto tracking. And I have little tags in there, if it's just direct to a client, because obviously you don't charge your kilometers if you're going just to and from home to your client. But as soon as you're on the clock, you need to be tracking those kilometers, and they add up really quickly, So having a system like that where you can just, set up tags. I can have a tag for my client's name and whether it's a reimbursed, like trip. That's been really helpful as well. Yeah, so what else? And then obviously I use Xero accounting as well. So just all my business banking, because that's another whole thing, you're running a business as a support worker. So yeah, that's also something you got to always, keep in mind, is getting your accounts all sorted and making sure you're ready to go for, end of year tax returns. And yeah, so having that set up too. So it's just all that headache stuff that, yeah, is good to have sorted out.
I set up trip A and B in the car.
Yeah.
So B is my whole travel. And then trip A is when I'm with a client, and I'll start my trip off, and then I can see what kilometres I've done with that client at that time. But my B will be the whole day. And so I find that a little bit easy to do.
Okay.
I mean, you have to think about it all the time, but I've got it down pat. I just automatically do it. But I plan ahead. I've got my calendar. I've got my clock is set. Get up for because you start at different times. So I get up for Paddy at 9 o'clock because I start at 11 o'clock and then finish Paddy at 12 o'clock or whatever. So my alarms are set all through the day of starting and finishing too. So I'm not going overtime, and that's the time I have to leave. And that's a kind of a boundary as well, that your time's up and I've got to go to my next job kind of thing. So, yeah, I just do trip A and B because I found it a bit monotonous to be trying to find some other way of doing it.
Can I ask, which app do you use? Sorry, Lynn. Like, how do you do your trip A and trip B? What are you doing that
No,
with?
it's on with the car. So you've got trip B
on your odometer.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
So, yeah, that's how I set it.
That's how you set it.
And I go have a logbook, and I just sit at the end of the day and fill the logbook out, the car logbook, and that's it. But I do my notes with my sessions before I leave. So I read through my notes with the client to say that's what I've done. And they'll probably say, oh, no, you forgot this. So I do my notes and sessions before I leave, because that's what we used to do in aged care and residential. You have to do documentation. So I'm kind of used to doing that before we leave, and they sign it off before I leave.
I really like that.
I like that. I didn't actually know to do that. I always thought it was something you did, straight after a session.
No, just, take 5 or 10 minutes out before you finish and fill out your notes in your session and have a talk to your client as you're going through it, and they'll prompt you what you did and what you didn't do. And I just find it easy, and they approve it straight away. It's there and then.
Yeah.
I hope there's a Mable developer trying to put like driver's notes into the Mable app and AI into the Mable app, steal all the stuff and all that too. So
I was thinking that'd be a great app.
Yeah. But I definitely I think the main point we're trying to come across is do your notes and your kilometers early. Don't wait till the end of the week or the month due. It's just spaghetti then. So as early as possible, people's ability to recall gets deteriorated throughout the whole week. We're all busy. So these are the really good habits you get into, the rituals you get into to make sure that you're on board, on accordance, and that you don't slip up and make a mistake, really. The other app that I use when it comes to group timetables is TimeTree. So TimeTree I use personally and through work. It's a shared calendar app. So people can see that, Pete's booked X, Y, Z, and I can see that through my time app. And it helps me helped me organize through the account holders as well too. But on that note, when it comes to organizing, just like Christine, you said you send SMSs. I send SMSs the day before I go on a shift to remind them that I'll be there this time. We're doing this activity. Get yourself mentally and physically prepared for it. Communication is key. I feel that I'm in a constant chat group with all my clients. And so it doesn't stop. So just reminding them because, everyone's busy. Reminders are great there just to keep people on track.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Mable app with, your session planner is actually really helpful as well. I go in there at the beginning of every week and just make sure I've got all my sessions in. It makes it a lot easier as well. When you then go to log your hours, it's already there. You can adjust them, your time slightly if you have to, but it's all set up.
And the calendar prompts you when you've got a session up too. If you're savvy with your calendar, it just makes life so much easier, to put all those sessions in. Your client can see that calendar as well because they've got, they know they've got a session coming up as well. So I just find the calendar really easy. And the session notes, you can write the session notes through your session. You don't have to wait for the session to finish. If you're sitting for 5 minutes because you've been working for 2 hours, and you can start your session notes anyway. You don't have to submit it until you finish your 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever it may be. So you can do it bit by bit at the same time.
Especially with aged care now, where you have to be so nitty-gritty with the amount of time you're spending on particular budgets.
Yes.
And that's why I do it at the end of the session, because for me to try and do it at the end of the day or the end of the week, my brain is fried. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah. And see, you got your service sessions too, or what you did, you've got to choose your housework or choose your meal preparation and all that. So once if you reflect your notes to your session that you've done, then it will all fall into place,
I just find that one little thing. When it comes to on-time notes and sessions and submitting timesheets, it creates a lot of trust with the client because if you did it at the end of the month, recalling creates a lot of doubt, and creates a lot of doubts can actually bring a lot of mistrust in. So to make sure that you have the mission of doing it really early on, I do it that day, timesheets that day, notes that day. You don't have to make up anything because it's already there. So it's all factual. Yeah.
And you want your client to sign it off before you leave anyway. Then that the note's been approved, that you're going to get paid when you're going to need to be paid. For your client to start to understand their own platform and to use Mable too is to get them into signing their sessions off too and understanding the Mable platform for themselves.
My clients are all on auto approved now, so they're like, she knows what she's doing, it's fine. And then I know that I'm going to get paid because everything's going to be approved and it's going to be fine because I've been doing it as I go. So yeah.
Yeah, same with me too. It's all auto pay and then the 10-date payments and stuff. So it's all quite kind of consistent now. But in the early days, it took a little bit longer to get that kind of thing in place. The other thing to just a quick note, when you guys were saying about the different categories as well, that you've got now with the new aged care system, you've got an hour of this or an hour of that. And then, it is a little bit more time involved in just setting that up. But also because of this system changing over, there's a few hiccups as well with making sure that the funding is in the right categories. And so having a conversation with either the service provider or the family member who's actually set it up with you when you're doing your agreement, we've had to make a few adjustments just last week because the funding wasn't matching the actual agreement, that he actually didn't have enough housework, and we were all putting housework as our category. So we actually just had to do a bit of tweaking with that to make sure that the Mable categories match the service provider categories, and then knowing, across the week how many hours go into each category, and if there's one or multiple support workers over a week, you kind of need to all know, all right, what are you logging? Or, well, we have had to in the last week, and that's been something that we've had to
100%.
Just quickly
Yes,
with
the budgeting,
What at home, the industry-wide change, it's definitely I'm sure hiccups to start with, but hopefully it'll get some underway soon. So it's there was some big industry changes. Last year was a big year, so thanks everyone for that. Okay, cool. And now I want to ask a question for the floor.
Sorry, be right back.
Oh yeah, no worries. Does anyone want to tell me a bit more about how they prepare for tax time?
I'll go. I'll do the easy one.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right, this is thing, and this is surprising. I find I just paid the $30,000 in tax. So from the 1st of July 2024, it changed the tax contributions changed from 27,500 to a close 30,000. And I just paid the max amount there that they can do it. And there is so much volume of work that I do that 30,000 I don't really miss anyway. So that's the easy thing you can do without having to calculate it out. So I just give 30,000 to my accountant every single year to pay for the tax.
Nice.
Do you do that in increments? Sorry.
I should do the increments. That's a good question. I do it in one lump sum at the end of tax season. So I'm very sad that week.
Yeah, I bet. Do any of you guys use the Mable split payments, that are set up? They have so when you get paid, you can separate out and say, okay, I want this percentage of, my earnings that we each go into a separate bank account. I've recently kind of set that up, and that's been quite good as well, just because then you're not having to, when it lands in your business account, having to then, if you are separating as you go, I think that's quite a cool feature that Mable have for the tax purposes.
Yes, I don't use any of that because I live in a government home, so I've got to do profit and loss forms, and it's such a bloody headache. Like I've got to collect all my receipts and work out my income for the past 8 weeks, and then what I've spent in that past 8 weeks. I've got receipts put away, and then I have to send that profit and loss form to my accountant for him to put it back on a heading for me to send it to housing. And so I have an accountant that does everything. Like I do all my income through the year and my receipts, and I work all those out. And then I go to my accountant and say, well, this is what I spent. This is what I spent it on. This is my profit and loss that I feel what it is. And he'll work it all out. But it can be a bit of a headache. Yeah. But you just do it. You work it out. You got, it's your own business, and that's what you've got to do. I pay my own super. So I've got an account that I pay super into. I pay tax every fortnight that I put away because I know I'm going to get a bill at the end of the year. And hopefully that will be enough. You've just got to work it as your own business.
Yeah. I was going to use that deduction for super and tax, but since November, and they've changed all the payments, and it's all coming in all these little nitty gritty, like $12 here and $97 here, and I'm finding it incredibly hard to work out exactly where I'm at with making sure the bills are paid. So to then have a deduction from that as well for tax and super, I think my head would explode. So I've just been still doing it in Xero, like using my bookkeeping kind of skills from a past life. So I've sort of been managing that myself through Xero as opposed to, but I really do want to automate that. It's just, I feel like I'm a bit of a mess with the payments since they've changed back in November.
Yeah.
But I need to get my head around it first.
I found that a little bit hard too, because I used to do express pay, and I used to pay myself every week. So I'd do express pay over the weekend, and by Monday, Tuesday, I'd get paid. And I do realise we do pay for that privilege, but I found it a lot easier to do an express pay and pay myself weekly. But then when the new home care program come in, and the providers all just fell behind in all their invoices and trying to put it all together, that hasn't been working out. But I did try the 10-day payment, and the payments were too sporadic for me to pay bills. So I found the express pay was just easier for me. I can't do a 10-day. I can't wait for the pay. I need to be paid weekly, so I pay my bills weekly.
Yeah. That's it's good to know that express pay is working for you.
Well, not at the moment, it's not, but it did previously. But once that hiccups finishes with this new home care program, it'll fall back into place. But yeah.
For sure. And Christine, can I ask you a question about how do you ensure that your small business is compliant?
Well, obviously, tax reporting is one thing. I actually lean on Mable very heavily for making sure, like, it's given me reminders. I just did my CPR certificate yesterday to make sure, Tuesday, So I really love the reminders that Mable provides to be like, you need to get this done by this particular date, otherwise you're no longer compliant, and then you can't earn money. So like I really do lean on Mable heavily for that, as far as compliance goes.
Yeah, perfect. And I think we've got questions in the chat. John was asking about um, when you sorry, the chat keeps flicking. It was about when you get a new client, you need to show your qualifications again. Definitely reach out to the team because your qualifications should be on your Mable profile. So I feel like that shouldn't be the case unless you're taking them to your first interview. So maybe connect with the team and we can look into that and make sure they're showcased on the profile. But please feel free to ask questions in the chat and we can make sure they're answered.
I think
With
that
that,
was
I
is
have
because when you do a meet and greet, they suggest that you actually take your qualifications with you just in case your client asks for them. So that's probably what John's probably prompting at, is that those, like, our qualifications have to be on our profile, otherwise we're not compliant. So we have to have those qualifications there. But I think with the meet and greet, it just does have a prompt there to say, you know, take your qualifications with you because your client may want to see them. You know, your driver's license, you're working with vulnerable, your certificates, whatever it may be, your car insurance, you know, whatever it may be, they say to take it with you. But I don't get often asked about those things from clients. Once a client meets you, and if you click, you click. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
With my NDIS client, they have a whole other set of compliance themselves
Yes.
to make sure that they get funding. And
Yep.
so they do want copies of those particular things
Yes.
to have on file aside from Mable, like the insurance, like policies and stuff like that. So it's been really great to just be able to pop into Mable and download those certificates of compliance to be able to provide those.
I've
Yeah.
had to actually send providers my police check, my certificates, my working with vulnerable, whatever they've asked for, my certificates of insurance through Mable, any of those I've actually had to send through, and it's a nightmare, but you have to do it. If you want a client and that's part of your agreement, I've actually had to sign agreements with providers so I can still work with their clients, which has been a bit of a headache, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think, and there's also, sorry, Pete, and then I'll hand the mic over to you. Gary was asking about Express Pay, and sometimes it gets if it gets refused, if there's no explanation why in the email. I think that is just an automated email, and each time, like if there is a reason why it's not getting paid in express time, it would differ. So definitely connect with the team and they'll give you a reason as to why. But
I found with Express Pay, if you're denied that payment, you are a little bit behind in the provider paying for the invoices. Therefore, Mable doesn't want to be so much out of pocket for them to pay another Express Pay and another Express Pay. I found that as a default is that if your client's like 4 or 5 invoices behind because the provider hasn't paid it, then it won't pay you Express Pay.
I definitely had that, over
Yes.
Christmas.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Over Christmas, New Year's, and that was because of the new transformation of home care program. It was just a huge hiccup.
Yeah.
And they're playing catch up still now.
Pete?
I'm back on track now, thankfully.
What's that?
I'm back on track now. So I only, my aged care client, I do Express Pay. My other one, my NDIS client, I just let come in when it comes in. I'm back on track now with the request Express Pays. Like I haven't had any dramas for the last probably 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Pete?
speaking about back on track, just to circle back to what Christine was saying before, yes, that's one of the best things about the Mable app is because they will prompt you when things are expiring, when things need to get updated, your clearances as well. I specifically like the Education Hub. Do you guys know about the Education Hub that Mable provides? In fact, I think
Yeah, it's awesome.
you helm that, don't you? And that's really good just to make sure that you're compliant, that you have your certificates. And Mable does endorse that. I also have that on my separate drive as well. So specifically for a recovery coach. They want extra types of education that you have, qualifications. And so I have them ready to go to show them. And I show them off very proudly because I work really hard for them.
That's right. So you should.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen the education hub from Mable, it's fantastic. Go through that. That's amazing. That's a whole rabbit hole.
Thanks, Pete. I really appreciate it. And then can you tell us a bit more, Pete, about strategies that help you maintain consistent work with or income over time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Consistency, that word again. I make sure that I have my clients dense. In fact, Kenzie, when you first said, you said you had 4 to 5 clients. I had 45 clients. I thought Kenzie's a
No,
superstar.
wait, no, 4 to 5, not 45.
I know. Yeah. Sorry.
That'd be way too much.
Yeah, like I said before, I have a constant conversation with all my clients. They have time in, time out. I make sure that I kind of book in on a regular. So I every Monday I see a certain clients. Every Tuesday I see certain clients, and this is a great way to group them as well. So if I'm going north, if I'm going south, if I'm going west, it makes me cover a lot. So I make sure that we have weekly sessions, at least weekly sessions. I make sure I have a constant conversation, and the conversation is quite tight about the movements of where they want to do. I make sure that my clientele is quite dense. Clientele sometimes cancel or change or just, that's a-okay. I'll catch them next time there. And I make sure they have ongoing rapport with them. So this whole industry is very relationship based. It's not transactional. You got to see them again. And I make sure I have a to be continued, see you next session there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kenzie, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say I love that what you're saying about that rapport and like just knowing that you're gonna be there again and again. Like I've got there's no like finish date, with my clients. It's like we are together, and for as long I hope to have them really, because you're building that relationship. And again, like I have 4 to 5 clients, but they have a couple of sessions a week, and then I've got a couple that are just like sort of occasional ones, which might do like a longer session or a weekend session or something. So and I try to group them together as well. I have like they're all sort of within my area. I don't like to drive too far because, like I say, it eats up your time and your day if you're driving 30-40 minutes on the motorway every day, or even an hour sometimes. So I do try to I like to sort of keep it more local with my client base, and that seems to work quite well. Yeah.
I found too myself, like I've actually done meet and greets, and I've met clients, and I've been with these clients probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but then I've realized I don't feel comfortable anymore.
Yeah.
That it's not suiting me anymore. Like there's something that's just not clicking. And so I've actually said to clients, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you, a couple of weeks notice, but I have to leave, and they've said, I'm happy to be with you, Lynn, and I enjoy your company or whatever, but there's something that you're just missing, that you just don't feel like you fit in there. And so I've actually left. Yeah, I've left clients because I don't feel like I'm suited. I only do aged care. I do have NDIS, but not. I do have NDIS clients, but not full disability. I find I get upset when I can't verbally talk to somebody or communicate with somebody. I feel like I'm not doing my job properly, so therefore I just do a lot of aged care. But I have left clients after a few weeks because I don't feel like I'm suitable.
I think that's so true. It's like you got that gut feeling, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
when I first started, I had maybe 2 clients that I knew at the beginning that we didn't quite click, and as the time went on, it just wasn't feeling right. And it was quite upsetting to sort of actually say no. But there was a huge learning curve, especially as a complete new support worker. And then when I met the ones that I did click with, it was like, oh my God, this is what it should be like. And so when I do a meet and greet, it's not about them interviewing me, so you've got to, it's like, it actually goes both ways. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm coming to interview you too to see if I like you, see if we're going to be a good fit. And I think, as soon as you do, it's usually pretty instant. You're like, yeah, we want to work together. And then that's good. But I think that learning to listen to yourself and know that if someone's not quite right, then it's okay. There's somebody else out there more suited to you, and they might be better with a different support worker.
That's right.
It's
Yeah,
better to both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I would have been at a stage that I would have just left.
Yeah.
Would have been nothing. There would have been no notification or anything. So if you just kind of take your deep breath and just say, I just don't think I'm suited for the job anymore, and it is what it is, and I'm sorry, but that's how it's going to work, So there is sometimes that you think the meet and greet goes fine, but then we're not going to always get along with everybody, unfortunately, and there's just something there that you just feel that you can't be there anymore.
We're going to, Pete's got his hand up. We're going to get Pete to answer, and then I'll go to the last section because I realize the time. Could talk to you guys for hours.
Let's keep talking for hours. No, I just wanted to say regards to honesty. Yeah. Clients won't always like what you say, but they'll respect what you say because it's honest. And some clients you grow out of, and some clients grow out of you. Like I had a client that I cared for quite dearly, but he needed more specialized care, like nursing specialized care, and that's a-okay. We still keep in contact after Mable, post things, and it can evolve with something like an acquaintance or friendship afterwards too. Just don't take it personally. There is so much work out there. There is so much work. There's a fitting for everybody. And that's one of the things I like about Mable. It was just so dense in the amount of jobs available that eventually something will fit and gel real nicely. So I just want to make that mention.
Perfect.
I agree.
Thanks, guys. So, okay, going to our last section, turning professionalism into long-term success. So, Christine, I'm going to ask you the first question. What does professionalism mean to you as an independent support worker?
I think we've that echo of consistency is so important throughout everything we do. Timely communications about any changes. So, if you, as soon as you realise that you're potentially sick and you need to cancel, communicate with that straight away. Like, don't sort of wait until an hour beforehand to be like, I'm really not going to be able to make it today. Let them know, like as soon as you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning or something for that 8 o'clock session, or give them as much time as you possibly can so that they can make arrangements, so that they can take the day off to be able to care for their person that you're supposed to be caring for, and be cleanly dressed, like be presentable. How you appear is your brand. The smile on your face is also your brand, and it's you're going into somebody's home. If you're disheveled and sort of a mess before you've even walked in the door, that sets the tone for that session. So, have that can-do attitude. Obviously, with boundaries, there's always, you got to be mindful that you don't want to be climbing up the ladders and cleaning windows. But, I think, prompt reporting, a smile, professional, sort of, like wear what you want to wear, but be clean.
And smell good.
Yes. Deodorant.
What perfume, Lynn?
Sorry?
What perfume? What scent?
Well, I wear all different kinds of perfume and deodorant. So, I do have a client that has issues with sinuses, so I don't wear perfume. But when I'm with other clients, I like to smell good, and I like to be presentable too, and whatever is behind me that has anything to do with me stays behind me. So I always walk into somebody's home with a smile on my face, whether I'm having a good day or I'm having a bad day. That issue behind me is not their issue. That's not their problem. That's my problem. So always
100%.
walk in there with a smile on your face, whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it. You have to.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, Kenzie, I'm going to fire over to you. In what ways has professionalism helped you grow your client base or secure repeat bookings?
Well, yeah, just that connection with the clients. They want you to come back because they know that you've done, you've gone above and beyond while you're there. You know, when I'm on the clock with them, it's like I'm totally dedicated to them. You know, and like Lynn was saying, you know, you leave anything you've got going on. It's not, you know, it's just between those hours, you are there to support them and do the best job you can. And for me, it's about bringing the best energy and showing up in your best way possible. And so that instantly, I don't know, they want you back because, you know, you're doing a good job and you want to keep working together. So yeah, just showing up, being the best version and being positive, good energy. Yeah, respectful as well, you know, being very respectful. There was a point, you know, you were talking about perfume before, and it made me think, well, that's another thing is really remembering, you know, each of, like, I've got, you know, a couple of aged care clients, I've got a couple of NDIS clients, and they're all so different. And so, you know, I've got one client who can't, you know, be around certain smells. So I know when I get ready in the morning, there's no perfume. It's very, very minimal. And I'm with each client, I know how I need to show up, and I will, yeah, sort of prepare that before I leave the house and make sure that I'm thinking about their needs first.
Hey, thanks.
Hey guys again. Thanks, Kenzie. Yeah, definitely. And there's a quote that hospitality, I'm not quite sure if everyone's worked in hospitality, did, but people come there for the food, but they stay for the service. They come back for the service. And we live in, this is a very impressions-based industry, and it's about their experience. So their intuition is based on their experience. So yeah, what Christine said about branding really does, all these little thousand skills you have really combines to a really good experience. Have a good photo. Make sure you're well kept and clean. Make sure you don't, you know, have a residue there for them. You're there to add value to their lives as well. And so, yeah, I just want to bring out that it's a very impressions-based business. That's how you get repeat customers over a long period of time.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. We've got a question in the chat around keeping in contact with ex-clients outside of work. What do you guys think around that?
No, I find that really hard. Like I not long left a gentleman. He's palliative. His family were very, very needy, and he was becoming a tour assist, but the family didn't want to have a tour assist because it cost them money. So it was hard to leave from there because I really, really enjoyed my time with my client, but the family were making it difficult. So therefore, for my own safety, I left from there. And, you know, the daughter was really, really upset, didn't want me to leave, you know, how well I was looking after her dad and all that kind of stuff. But you have to leave it. If things are not working out and you're going to become liable, or you're going to hurt yourself, then you got to get out of that situation. And, you know, you voice to the family that you need more help. They don't want to do it, or they want to take over and be part of the support work, which you're not qualified to do anyway. You have to get out of there.
Thanks, Lynn, for sharing. We've got a question in the chat from Joel around, so just talking about job applications when you're applying on Mable, what do you do to stand out from the crowd? So there's a question for the panel. Is there something different or interesting you include in your application to secure the client?
Can I start with that? Because
Yeah.
when I first started, I applied for so many jobs. I wasn't getting any bites, and I was like, "What is going on?" This is, you know, I thought I was going to get, you know, inundated, and I didn't. It took me a wee while, and then I started crafting my applications a little differently. I started really my first couple of sentences were very personal, very much about what I can do for that client. Really reading the job description and really thinking about how could I add value to this person. Like, you know, what can I bring? And often I would, you know, if I had experience with a previous client, say like I have a blind client, and you know, the next job was somebody was, you know, losing their sight, so I could actually share, hey, look, I actually have another client, you know, or I had experience with this, and that I found an increase in replies pretty quickly when I was really detailed and personal and really making more of an effort to really pull out those key parts of the job description. And that helped me get my first couple of clients, and then I realized that was the formula, and it worked a few more times, so that was good. Yeah, so that
Yeah,
helped.
I did the same thing. That's how I got my clients, was that really personalized application. And also, like, if you're not very good with grammar and spelling, or if English is not your first language, use AI like GPT to craft those. Obviously, make sure that it's Australian spelling, because that'll trip you up. But like, don't be afraid to use tools to help you craft that paragraph in a way that is easy to read, because that is your first impression. And, like I said, if English isn't your first language and somebody's already struggling to read, like they've got 10 applications, they're going to flick you and straight on to the next one.
I found if you can get your clients to do reviews, and it's because it's their own review, it's their own personal opinion, you're going to jump that scale higher than what you think. And I think I found that when you read through the reviews, you're like, that is so cool. I didn't think, they were thought like that, So I think the reviews really, really help you jump up, because it also, to the providers that are searching for last minute jobs or whatever, are looking at those reviews as well. They can see that you're a superstar, that you've got 5 stars or whatever, and they're going to have a look at those reviews. And when they look at those reviews, that's when things are going to happen. And I've had a lot of providers contact me for jobs, but they're either out of my area, because not that you know Hobart, but I only work on the eastern shore, so I don't travel overside the bridge. So I stay in there's a huge area, but I try to stay in my area, and I state that I only do aged care, I don't do disability. So, and I don't do children either, because I have 4 children. I think I've done my time with children. I don't want to do any more. And letting clients know that you are their second hands, that's what you're here for, that I'm here to help. Whatever you need, that's what I'm here for.
That's so cool that Lynn, that you know what you want to specialize in too, and I think that's a good thing as well, as actually understanding your own value, and because everyone's different, everyone's got a different background, different skills that they can bring to their clients. And so yeah, for me too, like I'll kind of go, well, this is the type of stuff I'm really naturally really enjoy, and also I'm good at. And there's other things that's like there might be a different person that could come and do that stuff because they're really awesome at that. And I think it's just make sure you're matching with the right.
Because I tried to do children on Mable, and I just found it wasn't me. I did babies, taking children to childcare and looking after babies and feeding them and changing them, up to 18, 19-year-old women, But I just thought, it's just not me. I just want to do aged care. I'm really suited to do just aged care, and I'm happy to do that.
That's the beauty of Mable. You can choose who to work with and when. And
that's right.
So I'm mindful of time. I can't believe how quickly this hour's gone. Pete, did you have any final comments before?
Yeah. I just want to drum down that yeah, definitely. So Mable does have in your profile who you're willing to work, what jobs you're willing to work for, which is really handy. Also, it's good to show you what range of jobs are out there for people to niche as well. Niches are very important. That's how you find people that can click with you very, very well. So if I've got a niche between 20 to 30-year-olds with adolescents, I'm grouping them together, right? I find that that's my bread and butter. Yeah, so I want to make sure that if you put out what you're willing to work for, don't be very non-specific, be very specific, and you'll get that clientele, because the jobs out there are just so dense. There's thousands of jobs out there.
Heaps, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to also mention, there was a client that said that a lot of the Mable profiles have like mugshots. Have a very approachable photograph. This is like dating apps. Everyone has an attention threshold. You've got 10 seconds to make an elevator pitch, and that's it. Make sure you use every single ounce of competitive edge you can do. Yeah.
Well, actually, when we first jumped on, we all commented on how lovely Christine's profile picture, and she's like waving in her profile, and it instantly made you just smile and go, "Oh wow, she looks so friendly." That was really sweet.
Definitely.
Perfect. Yeah, just to close, I'll share there's all the profile pictures there. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you to our wonderful panelists. You guys have been amazing. I've learned so much. I see some amazing feedback in the chat too. Thank you for your time, everyone, for coming along. And if your questions weren't answered today, here's how you can contact us through phone, live chat, or the help center. We've got a bunch of resources there. And then join our next webinar. We'd love to see you again. We have our insurance company coming along just to talk about understanding your insurance as an independent support worker on Mable. So that's later next month. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.